Hello, future officers. Welcome to a session which is regarding very important topics like species in news. We will be discussing various fauna, various flora, and we will also be discussing the important protected areas that were there in news. So, without wasting any time, let us begin this session. First species which was in news was pangolin. Now, if we talk about pangolins, तो इसके बारे में क्या पता होना चाहिए that pangolins, these are the most trafficked wild mammals globally, and these are scaly anteater. As you can see from this particular image, these are scaly. In fact, for these scales, these are trafficked also. Very important point regarding these pangolins is they are considered as ecosystem engineers, meaning by they modify the environment wherein they live. They help in soil circulation. That is again an important point. Please comment down what are the other examples of ecosystem engineers. Please tell me if kelp is an example of ecosystem or not. Thereafter, out of total 8 species of pangolin, 2 are found in India. And these are Indian pangolin as well as the Chinese pangolin. Chinese और Indian pangolin दोनों ही आपको इंडिया में देखने को मिलेंगे. And talking about their IUCN status, Indian pangolin is endangered, whereas Chinese pangolin is critically endangered. And very important, pangolin पे UPSC has already asked a question. We will see that question also. Next is Menace mysteria. What is Menace mysteria? Now globally there are 8 species of pangolin which are found, but a new species of pangolin has been recently discovered by the scientist. So Menace mysteria is a new species of pangolin. You can see back in 2021 there were 3 animals given, and to reduce their chance of being captured by predators, which of the following organism they roll up? So you have seen in the image, that was pangolin. Moving further, next is Dickinsonia. Now what is this? Is this tree? Is this plant? So this is extinct primitive animal, and it was there in news because there was confusion. There was a beehive which was found in Madhya Pradesh, Bhimbetka. So you should be aware that this is a primitive animal, and it inhabited seabeds around Australia, China, Russia, Ukraine. Just you need to know that this is an extinct animal. Then greater squab. What do you mean by greater squab? So this is basically a duck. Why it was in news? It was in news because this was sighted in Loktak Lake in Manipur after a gap of 90 years. First things first, we should be aware that this is a duck. तो हमें ये भी पता होना चाहिए कि organisms, these are birds, mammals, reptiles. Locally this is known as sudden bang, and it was sighted in Loktak Lake after 90 years. Loktak Lake आपको पता होगा that this is famous for the Fumdies. It is having the only floating national park in the world. This is a migratory bird and is mainly found in Arctic and subarctic regions. If we talk about the IUCN status, it is concerned. Now there are a lot of details which are provided along with the bird. Details like this belongs to family of Anatidae. ये कभी नहीं पूछा जाता in UPSC. Need to know the basics. Back in 2022, which of the following is not a bird? So you should be aware about the status of the animals, that whether they belong to reptiles, amphibians, birds, etc. or not. Next species which was in news was white-tufted royal butterfly. Now this was in news because it was spotted in Kerala. and earlier also it was spotted in Agastya Kundanam and Chirundri Wildlife Sanctuary, and it is found in Indo-Malaya realm. Now you should be aware that butterflies, moths and skippers, they belong to insect order of Lepidopetra, and very important function of butterfly is they act as pollinators. Moreover, they also act as indicator species. We talk about this white-tufted royal butterfly, belongs to Schedule 2nd of Wildlife Protection Act 1970. Then there was another butterfly which was in news, that is conjoined silver line. We are reading these butterflies, क्या UPSC butterflies पे क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं? Definitely they ask questions regarding the same. We will see that this is a new butterfly species identified in Karnataka's Kodagu district. Consist of few spot bands on underside. अब इतना सब detail is not required. I've also included those portion जहाँ पे students confuse हो जाते हैं. ये सब information हमें पता होना चाहिए या नहीं पता होना चाहिए. Because there is no end to the information. So males, they have dark shining blue wings. Males, they have dark brown wings. Now in 2006 UPSC ने butterfly से ही question पूछा था, that for the first time in our country a state government has declared a state butterfly, and the answer back then was Maharashtra. And why it was asked? Because it was in news. Maharashtra gets state butterfly. It is the first state in the country to become a state butterfly. Now this was there in Da Hindu. Some students might say, sir, hum Da Hindu nahi padhte, we read Indian Express. So it was also given in Indian Express. Maharashtra has become the first state to have a state butterfly. Direct question was asked. Then talking about sea butterfly, do not get confused by the name sea butterfly. This is not a butterfly, rather this is a snail. And why this is in news? This is in news because of climate change. Now climate change is threatening its existence. Population in Southern Ocean shrinking due to climate change. Its scientific name is Ecosomata. Very important, these are snails. Sea snail, and that means they are known as shelled theropods. These are holoplantoic. What do you mean by holoplantoics? आपने पढ़ा होगा in basic environment and ecology classes. There are certain organisms which are planktons, there are certain organisms which are nectons, benthic, etc. So these are holoplantoic. That means the organism that pass their whole life in floating, drifting or swimming weakly in the water. And this sea butterfly, which is a sea snail, this is a very crucial link, the marine food chain, because they serve as a food for fish, seabird, whale and other marine organism. This was given in Down to Earth. If its population is threatened, that means the entire food web would be badly damaged or destroyed. Consequences would be very severe. So sea butterflies are threatened by climate change, and here is how they can impact the Antarctic marine ecosystem. You must have read about ocean acidification, more dangerous for shelled smaller sea butterflies, but can impact the entire food web. Now please pay attention. In UPSC, consequences are often asked. If there is, we will see a question, butterflies से related ही question पूछा था about the consequences. Next is gecko Lizurramis. Now this is basically a new species of flying gecko, that is a lizard. Thereafter, we have Gambusia effin. What do you mean by Gambusia? Now, Gambusia is a fish you can see over here. And why it was in news? It was there in news because Andhra Pradesh government has released Gambusia in water bodies to combat the mosquito-borne diseases like malaria and dengue. So you need to know Gambusia effins is name of a fish utilized by Andhra Pradesh, and it is native to southeastern United States. It has high breeding capacity. Moreover, it is highly invasive. Then we have Pterigotrigla intermedica. What is this? This is again a fish, and it was discovered from Liga Mohana in West Bengal. Just need to know that this is a fish discovered by Zoological Survey of. Commonly, it is also known as Dobbins. Next and very important is the Himalayan wolf. Why Himalayan wolf was in news? Because it was for the very first time that IUCN has assessed this particular animal. If we talk about the IUCN status, it is categorized as vulnerable species. Mainly they are found in China, Nepal, India and Bhutan. Now आप कोई भी organism पढ़ते हैं, there are certain basics which one should be aware. First and foremost, why this was in news. Second, what is the IUCN status? Thirdly, what are the threats? And very important, what is the habitat of that particular organism? Now it typically lives in the alpine meadows and the grasslands. Usually they travel in small packs and hunt wild sheep and goats, and sometimes they also prey upon the marmots, hares and birds. Now very important, Himalayan wolf number is on a decline. What are the reasons for that? So basic reasons are depredation conflict. Depredation conflict क्या है? Now basically these are sharing a habitat with livestock. जहाँ पे higher reaches होंगे, there would be grasslands, there would be meadows. So there is seasonal or permanent high livestock abundance in wolf habitats. Summer pasture land would be there for livestock grazing, और livestock grazing जहाँ पे होगी wolf would come, और जहाँ पे wolf आएगा और livestock grazing का conflict होगा, obviously they would be killed. In more likelihood, people are going to kill these. Then another threat is hybridization with the dogs, especially in Ladakh and Spiti region. There is number of feral dogs, and there are instances of interbreeding with the domestic dogs. Moreover, they are also hunted for their fur, other body parts. This is again a threat. Then Tibetan brown bear. This was in news because it was sighted for the very first time in India, or India maybe. This was sighted in Sikkim. Now Tibetan brown bear, it is also known as Tibetan blue bear. एक ही बात है. And you must be aware that bears, they are omnivorous, and its habitat include alpine forest, meadows, steppes at an elevation of around 2000 to 4500 meters. Mainly they are found in Nepal, Bhutan and Tibetan Plateau. Next is protestrol biota. What is protestrol biota? Why it was in news? Now these inhabited underwater world over 1.6 billion years ago. That means they have something to do with our geological past. scientists have discovered these. They belong to eukaryotes. Now please comment down what is the basic difference between eukaryotes and prokaryotes. And they are source of evolution on Earth. Source of evolution on life on Earth. Then is a term. Term-based questions are also asked. Now this is a term that is cryptobiosis. What do you mean by cryptobiosis? Why it was in news? Cryptobiosis, it is a kind of temporary death of a particular organism. And scientists, they have brought microscopic worms back to life. They were frozen in Siberian permafrost for about 46,000 years by entering into a state called cryptobiosis. So microscopic worms, they have entered into a state known as cryptobiosis. Cryptobiosis mein, what is there? It is a state of extreme inactivity. जैसे आपने सुना होगा हाइबरनेशन या एस्टाइवेशन, वहाँ पे भी इनएक्टिविटी इज देयर बट दैट इज फॉर अ मच शॉर्टर ड्यूरेशन. बट अगर आप क्रिप्टोबायोसिस की बात करेंगे, दिस इज एक्सट्रीम फॉर्म, extreme inactivity in response to the adverse environmental conditions, and that is why they are able to survive also. Now it can be termed as temporary death of a organism. I hope this is clear. Thereafter, methylo2 the microbium Coratenylase 5G B1C. What is this particular term represent? Now basically this is a strain of bacteria. The strain of bacteria, and it can remove methane from major emission sites such as landfill, paddy field, oil and gas wells. बहुत important और emerging issue है environment में, that is the emission of methane. और methane से UPSC has already asked questions. Which of the following crops they emit methane? Anthropogenic source क्या है? So that is methane. So this particular strain of bacteria, it can remove the methane. If it is able to remove the methane, then that means it would be very beneficial in our fight against global warming. That is the benefit or the application part of the same. Then is Tharosaurus indicus. What is Tharosaurus? Pay attention, there is a mention of Thar. Thar, the desert. This is a long-necked plant-eating dinosaur which was found in Jaisalmer in the state of Rajasthan. It is named after Thar desert of Rajasthan where it was found. Then we have Megalonosaurus. Again, this is a dinosaur. Why this was in news? This was in news because year 2024 marks bicentennial, that means 200th year of the first scientific naming of a dinosaur. So 2024 is a landmark year. 200 साल हो गए हैं किसी भी डायनासोर का को नेम किए हुए. This is Megalonosaurus, meaning the great lizard, and its fossils, they were discovered in Oxfordshire, that is in England. Thereafter, very important, red fire ant. Red fire ant. Now these are invasive species, and it was for the very first time that they were found in Europe. So it is one of the world's most invasive species that have been found in Europe for the first time. Remember this. And it is native to South America. However, it is spread now to US, Mexico, Caribbean, China and Australia, and for the very first time in Europe as well. Now it is known for its aggressive behavior, painful stings and large colony size. Last year 2023 UPSC has asked a question pertaining to Waggle dance. That means behavior of certain fauna has been asked. They are known for their aggressive behavior. They inflict much damage to the crops and local ecosystem. Thereafter, walking leaves. Now, what do you mean by walking leaves? Walking leaf is basically a type of insect. They are also known as leaf insects. They look very, you can see they look very similar to the leaves, and their natural range extends from islands in Indian Ocean and across part of mainland South Asia, Southeast Asia, Papua New Guinea, Australia in the Western Pacific. So walking leaves have nothing to do with the leaves per se. They are insects. And males, they tend to be smaller than the. Then very important is Armageddon reed tail. Armageddon reed tail is basically a damsel fly. Here you can see, और इसी शब्द से we get a term. This new damsel fly species found in Western Ghats in Kerala. They have crucial role to play in the pollination, nutrient cycling, and food source for other animals. Now this is very important concept. Please pay attention. यहाँ separately UPSC can ask question. That is, what do you mean by ecological Armageddon? Ecological Armageddon का मतलब क्या होता है? So it is a term which is describe devastating decline of insect population around the world. The world over, if there is drastic decline in the population of insects, then that is termed as ecological Armageddon. And back in 2017, you can see a question was asked also. If for some reasons, if there is huge fall in population of species of butterfly, what would be the likely consequences? Pollination पे impact आएगा या फिर fungal infection or population of other species. That means insect, they play a very crucial role. So consequences पे often ask question. Like we had seen the case of sea butterflies. Sea butterfly is not a butterfly, rather it is a snail. But ocean acidification से it is facing threat or challenges. तो हमेशा याद रखिएगा consequences. Moving further, this term is asked. Silentia tangi. Now what do you mean by this particular term? This is an extinct arthropod that lived in the early Cambrian period about 520 million years ago. And it was spotted, you can see over here, this particular arthropod puts 3 eyes on its head along with a pair of fearsome claws that was possibly used to catch prey. And what do you mean by arthropods? So arthropods are invertebrates with jointed legs. So basics आपको पता होना चाहिए. Need not to go into great details, but the basics you should be aware of. Next is mithun. What do you mean by mithun? So here you can see mithun. This is a state animal of which 2 states? Comment down. These are. This is the state animal of Nagaland as well as Arunachal Pradesh. Why this was in news? This was there in news because FSSAI has recognized mithun as a food animal. And food animals, what are food animals? Now food animals are those that are raised or used for food production or consumption by the humans. So FSSAI has recognized mithun as a food animal. Now, where is this found? This is widely distributed in Northeast India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and China. As we have already discussed, this is a state animal of both Arunachal Pradesh as well as Nagaland. और 2022 में भी FSCCI has recognized another animal as food animal, that was Himalayan yak. 2022 में Himalayan yak, and now methone has been recognized as a food animal. I hope this is clear. Thereafter, camelids. What are camelids? Why this is in news? This is there in the news because year 2024 has been recognized or declared by United Nations as International Year of Camelids. But what actually we mean by camelids? Camelids का मतलब ही क्या होता है? So camelids, they not only include camels, but there are other species also which are taken into consideration if we talk about camelids, like alpacas, bacterian camels, dromedaries. आपने पढ़ा होगा डबल हेम्ड कैमल के बारे में. इनफैक्ट अ क्वेश्चन वाज आस्क्ड आल्सो. guancos, llamas, vicuñas. So camelids, they contribute to the food security, nutrition and economic growth, as well as they have strong cultural significance for the community across the world. Definitely they are livelihoods. You can see camels के ऊपर UPSC has asked question back in 2016. हराई camel के बारे में, whether it can swim or not, whether it can be domesticated or not. Back in 2019 also, there was one statement read, double-hemmed camel is naturally found in India only. So you should keep an eye on the PYQs also, क्योंकि बहुत confusing हो जाता है at times environment ecology. Reason is number of species are found. So which to focus and which to not would be guided by PYQs. Moving further, dancing frogs. Dancing frogs से ये कहाँ पे पाए गए हैं dancing frogs? We will see. Very important, there is a behavior also which is known as foot flagging, is observed in dancing frogs. You can see over here, one feet has been stretched across, just similar to what a dancer does. So it is named so as they perform foot flagging. Foot flagging, you should be aware. तो पूछा था about the bees, waggle dance के बारे में, वैसे ही foot flagging के बारे में पूछा जा सकता है. Foot flagging is observed in which of the following? So males, they stretch out their hind legs one at a time and they wave their webbed toes in the air in a very rapid motion, and it looks like as if the frog is dancing. If we talk about Nilgiri dancing frogs, these are vulnerable, and if we talk about white-cheeked dancing frog, it is endangered. And what are the threats to these dancing frogs? Invasive species, land use change and extreme weather is a cause of concern for. I hope this is clear. Foot flagging आप याद रखेंगे. Next is Namdafa flying squirrel. Where is this Namdafa National Park? There in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. This is a flying squirrel, and it was missing for about 42 years, and it has resurfaced back in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. We talk about the behavior, it is nocturnal. That means it is active more during night. It is endemic to northeastern India, and very important, this is critically, remember that this is critically endangered. Like Great Indian Bustard is critically endangered, similarly this is categorized as. The threats include poaching and habitat loss. These are the major cause of concern. If there is dancing frog There are some frogs which are Noha Dihing music frog. पूरा म्यूजिक डांस चल रहा है in the frogs. So this Noha Dihing music frog is observed in the state of Arunachal. So new species of music frog in Namdafa Kamleng landscape of Arunachal Pradesh. Dancing frog, they were observed in Nilgiris area, Western Ghats mainly. Noha Dihing observed in Namdafa Kamleng. आपने पढ़ा होगा Kamleng Tiger Reserve also. This is named after Noha Dihing. Now Noha Dihing is a tributary of river Brahmaputra. This is known for its unique call pattern which resembles that of wild ducks. यहाँ से याद रखिएगा Noha Dihing is a tributary of river Brahmaputra. Moving further, pink bollworm. Pink bollworm is related to which of the following species of crops? So they mainly damage cotton. This is one of the most destructive pests of cotton. And one more thing that you should be aware is originally native to India. This particular pest, which inflicts great harm, cotton balls, is native to India and it is now recorded in nearly all the cotton growing countries of the world. See, this is spread out. This was about the major fauna that was there in the news. Moving further, let us discuss some of the important flora that was there in the news. Starting with Prosopis chilensis. अब जहां पे वर्ड प्रोसिपस आएगा, जैसे आपसे प्रोसिपस जूलीफेरा के बारे में यूपीएससी इज आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन. प्रोसिपस chilensis. Now this is native vegetation and biodiversity. In Gulf of Mannar, it was under threat. Why this was in news? This was there in news because this is a invasive alien species. और इसकी वजह से Gulf of Mannar का जो native vegetation है, it is under threat. And it is small to medium sized legume tree found in arid and semi-arid regions, groundwater between 3 and 10 meters below the surface. अब ये details UPSC would never ask. ग्राउंड वाटर लेवल कितने से कितने के बीच में हो. This drought resistant plant native to South American countries of Argentina, Bolivia, Chile and Peru. तो बेसिक आपको पता होना चाहिए that Prosopis chilensis is a invasive, causing a threat to the native vegetation of Gulf of Mannar region. Moving further, Sena septibilis. What do you mean by Sena septibilis? Again, this is a invasive alien species. And Kerala Forest Research Institute has come out with a management plan so as to eradicate this Sena septibilis. This is a deciduous tree which is native to tropical areas of America. Again, this is an invasive species. Why this is considered as invasive species? क्योंकि इसका बहुत thick एक foliage is there. Because of that thick foliage, it basically checks or arrests growth of other indigenous trees or grass species. वो बाकियों को उगने का या growth का मौका provide नहीं करता. Thus, it causes food shortages for the wildlife and especially अगर trees या फिर grass impact होंगे, so herbivores they would be badly. Sena septibilis along with Lantana camera, आपने पढ़ा होगा invasive alien species. So these are among the 5 major invasive species that have taken over large parts of Nilgiris. Moving further, we have Phonocarpus trees. Phonocarpus trees are again an invasive alien species. This was there in news because recently Gujarat government has decided to ban it, and earlier Telangana government has decided to ban it, and mainly it is used as an ornamental tree. This is invasive hardy mangrove, grows easily from the intertidal zones to the deserts to urban landscape. That means it can grow in wide conditions, in diverse conditions. It was recently banned by Gujarat government. Earlier, Telangana government has done the same. Ornamental looks के लिए it is preferred, especially in the public spaces. This is considered an evergreen species with dark green shiny leaves. Flowering takes place in winters. What happens because of that? There are some people which are allergic. आपने normally सुना होगा कि pollen से people are allergic, and particles spreading from it causes cold, cough, asthma and allergy. Roots, they go deep and develop extensively, and these can damage the telecommunication line, the drainage line, as well as the freshwater systems. That is why the respective state governments have decided to ban the same. Remember this name, Phonocarpus trees. Thereafter, Indian oak or hijol. Now this is another tree which was in news because of climate change. You can see over here, Indian oak, also known as hijol. This is an evergreen tree. This is considered a floodplain. You can see over here, floodplain mein it is thriving very well. It is native to the coastal wetlands in Southern Asia and Northern Australasia. So Asia or Australia में would be finding this. Commonly this is found in, अगर flood plains की बात करते हैं, बहुत मुश्किल नहीं है सोचना that it would be commonly found in Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna basin. Suitable habitat for this Indian oak or hijol, it may shrink by over 50% due to rainfall and temperature. इसी वजह से this particular species was करीब 50% this species can decline. Its bark has tannin, is useful for heart ailments. Moving further, very important, red sanders. Red sanders से UPSC has already asked question. 2016 you can see with reference to red sanders, sometimes seen in news. So it is a tree species found in part of South India. Yes, in fact this is endemic to Eastern Ghats, in particular Andhra Pradesh. It is one of the most important trees in tropical rainforest areas of South India. So please comment down, is this second statement correct or not correct? Now why red sanders was there in news? We will see this. So first things first, this is endemic to Eastern Ghats, Andhra Pradesh, and it grows in rocky, degraded, fallow lands with red soil and hot and dry climate. Obviously, जो second statement दिया हुआ था, that is wrong. And what is the application part? This is widely used, be it cosmetic, be it musical instrument or luxury furniture. इसी वजह से red sander is often illegally traded. So it has fallen back in the endangered category in the IUCN Red List. अगर आप 2018 की बात करते हैं तो it was categorized as or classified as near threatened, but वापस से this was they are in the endangered category. Threats obviously are from smuggling, forest fire, cattle grazing, and other anthropogenic threats are there. Now this is important, please pay attention. India was under review of significant trade, RST process. ये अलग से क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. What do you mean by RST process? या फिर RST process is related to which of the following organization? Basically this is related to IUCN. So India was under review of significant trade process for red senders since 2004. Now India has been removed from this RST for red senders. This is a good news. Sorry. So sites, I'm sorry, that is not related to IUCN नहीं है, I'm sorry for that. This is related to sites. पढ़ा होगा sites के बारे में. Sites RST process enables disciplinary action in the form of trade suspension directed at countries that do not meet their obligation. पढ़ा होगा sites के बारे में, that sites it is having 3 appendices. So if a country is not meeting its obligation, then that country be kept under suspension. Trade suspension can be there. Or red senders के regarding India was in the RST review of significant trade, but now India has been removed from that particular process. So RST, what do you mean by RST? So RST is a process to which side standing committee, it places increased scrutiny on exports of species from a country to determine if the convention is properly implemented or not. The country has become a party to CITES, for example, India. Now India is a party to CITES, but whether India is following the CITES obligation properly or not, who is going to decide that? That is decided by CITES standing committee, not only for India, for any other party which is party to CITES. I hope this is. Moving further, next is Neel Kurunji. Now Neel Kurunji are basically, you can see over here, these are flowers, shrubs. So Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change, it is listed it under Schedule 2nd of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Has been included the list of protected plants, and this is shrub in the Shola forest of Western Ghats. So you can see, in fact, जो नीलगिरीज आप पढ़ते हैं, right? Geography में आप पढ़ते हैं नीलगिरीज के बारे में, तो नीलगिरी वर्ड जो माउंटेन का नाम आया है, that is believed from this Neel Kurunji. Neel means blue. So the entire mountain it looks blue. But important to remember is नील कुरुंजी का फ्लावर है, blooms या blossoms once in 12 years. 12 साल में एक बार this blooms. But owing to climate change, there have been changes also. Exactly up 12 years नहीं रहा वो. So this particular Neel Kurunji, it has been named after Kunthi River. Flows through Kerala's Silent Valley National Park. Widespread blooming is observed in Iravikulam National Park near Mannar. And blue color of Kurunji has given the Nilgiri hills its name. I hope this is clear. तो इसमें basic कुछ चीजें याद रखनी है. सबसे पहले what is the location? Because this is there in the Western Ghats, Nilgiris, and it blooms once every 12 years. Next is Boa Babs. This is an important tree. This is also known as upside down tree. It holds special significance for tribes. Mainly ये कहाँ पे मिलता है? This is mainly found in Africa. वहाँ पे भी Madagascar region. is also there in India, और इसकी वजह से ये न्यूज़ में भी था, because MP government it has decided that forest department it cannot grant permission for translocation of baobab trees in Dhar. So there were a lot of protest by the tribal people. So इस tree के बारे में you should know some of the basic facts, like known as upside down tree, found in mainland Africa, Madagascar and Australia. This is a deciduous tree, but इसकी सबसे special जो चीज़ है, that is even during the time of droughts, this particular tree can be very beneficial. Why this is very beneficial? This is very beneficial because its trunk can store large volume of water. So it can store large amounts of fresh water in their extraordinary trunks, and it can produce nutritious fruits even during the driest years. That is why it is culturally also very significant. Number of tribes they associate with this particular baobab trees. Next is DT plants. This is desiccation tolerant vascular plants. What do you mean by desiccation? अगर simple English word देखने जाएंगे, desiccation something related with drying या फिर lack of moisture. Here you can see desiccation tolerant plant, 12 hours after watering. This is a plant and you can see its state. जैसे ही it has been watered, so after 12 hours it has completely. That means it can tolerate desiccation. So researchers they have found 62 of plants the Western Ghats that can withstand harsh environments. That is why it was in news. So these desiccation tolerant vascular or DT plants are able to withstand extreme dehydration, losing up to 95% of their water content. सिर्फ 5% water content पे they are able to survive under harsh condition. And they revive themselves once the water is available. This unique ability allows them to survive in harsh arid environments that would be inhabitable for the other plants, क्योंकि बाकी plants जो हैं they cannot survive such great loss of water. कि 95% तक water loss हो गया फिर भी they are able to survive. I hope this is clear. So it's why this is so much of interest for the researchers. This is so much of interest because it can be possibly used or it can found applications in agriculture, particularly in those areas which have limited water resources. आपने पढ़ा होगा dryland farming के बारे में, and climate change is a reality now. This have become important. And in tropical regions, they are the predominant occupants of the rock outcrops. Next in line is Salsola opustifolia desfontania. Now what is this? Such a big name. Now this is a perennial shrub over here, and this grows in saline, arid and semi-arid environments of Kutch in Gujarat. The helophyte नाम से clear होना चाहिए. That means a plant which is adapted to grow in saline conditions, and it belongs to the family of Amaranthes. अब ये detail I have deliberately kept so as to tell you that this is not asked. These details you should not focus too much. This rich in pharmacological properties. Next is sago. What do you mean by sago? Why this was in news? Now this was in news because of GI tag, geographical indication tag, which was granted. So Sago Serve, that is a corporate society, it has received a GI tag for its sago produced in Salem in Tamil Nadu. You can see this is sago, and how is sago obtained, or from where sago is obtained? So sago is mainly obtained from raw tapioca. This is what a tapioca looks like. They are derived from raw tapiocas, and it is in form of small hard globules or pearls. As you can see, they are white in color. And if we talk about tapioca, this is a horticultural crop, and it grows in tropical, warm, humid climate with rainfall over 100 centimeters per annum. And very important, this tapioca, or for that matter sago, why this is important? This is important because of high carbohydrate content. जहाँ पे carbohydrates है, so energy would be there. So they are low in protein, fat, minerals, vitamins, and it is easy to digest and provides rapid energy. So this is important for instant energy. Please remember this sago and GI tag, Salem in Tamil Nadu. Next is fish mint. Now do not get confused by the name fish mint. This has nothing to do with the fish. Fish mint देखने को आपको ऐसा मिलेगा. The name fish mint इसलिए है because of the smell. Smell is similar to that of a fish. It is a herbal plant. It is full of medicinal properties, and it has a fish-like taste and smell. Hence the name fish mint. This is not a fish. This is a herbal plant. And other names include bishop's weed, Chinese lizard tail fish rot, fish leaf, chameleon plant. ये सब एक एक को रटने नहीं बैठना. Just एक दो बार आपने पढ़ा, right? That is all. Thereafter, the native range extends from Himalayan foothills, Southeast Asia, China, Korea, and Japan. And over there, it is widely used in their delicacies also. So it thrives in wet conditions, can even grow partially in submerged in water. तो याद रखना भी आसान है. Fish है, it can और water का relation, so can grow even in partially submerged water. And this is considered an invasive plant. Now its use or applications are to treat digestive issues, insects bite, fevers, coughs, and influenza. So number of benefits from they have been documented in Ayurveda and Siddha also. Remember this fish mint as a herbal plant, not as a fish. Thereafter, impatience, Karupuswami. What do you mean by this? Now this is again a new plant species covered in Kalakkad, Mundanturai Tiger Reserve in Tamil Nadu. This is a plant species. There is a genus of more than 1,000 of flowering plants which are widely distributed throughout tropical Africa, Madagascar, India, Sri Lanka, and China. तो simple आपको ये याद रखना है, even if it comes that this is a plant species. Next is Himalayan medicinal plants. So certain medicinal plants in Himalayas, they were there in the news. बहुत important हो जाता है, बहुत सब news में रहता है, but how this is asked by UP. You can see back in 2012, a question was pertaining to buckthorn. Government is encouraging the cultivation of buckthorn. Importance of this mention, importance, application. Similarly, a question was asked on guar gum seeds. Uska application was there in the shale gas extraction. Please pay attention to the use or importance or application. The Himalayan medicinal plants, they have entered IUCN Red List. These are Azaitropis pelipita, that is critically endangered, और जहाँ पे भी critically endangered, be it plant, be it animal, it becomes important. This is commonly known as patwa. You can see over here, this is a perennial shrub and this is endemic to state of Uttarakhand. इसका importance या significance क्या है? That essential oil extracted from its leaves, they contain antioxidants. Remember this name? Mesotropis pellita, common name is patwa, endemic to the state of Uttarakhand. Thereafter, Himalayan fritillary, IUCN status is vulnerable. This is a perennial bulbous herb. Mainly it is used for bronchial disorders and pneumonia. And lastly, Dactylorhiza hetageria. Commonly it is known as salam panja. This is known as, in common parlance, this is known as salam panja. This is perennial tuberous species endemic to Hindu Kush and Himalayan ranges of Afghanistan, Bhutan, India, China, Nepal, Pakistan. This is listed as endangered, threatened by issue of habitat loss, climate change. आप plants के बारे में पढ़ें, आप animals के बारे में पढ़ें, one common theme which is now seen across is loss of habitat. Climate change, of course, is there. It is used in Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, etc. so as to cure dysentery, gastritis, chronic fever, cough, stomach aches. So number of applications are there. अब इन तीनों में से भी सबसे important is patwa, because this is listed as critically endangered on IUCN Red List. I hope this is clear. Thereafter, let us talk about the important protected areas which were in news. First is Yayaso. What is Yayaso? Yayaso has become Ladakh's first biodiversity heritage site. First, you should know this. The biodiversity heritage site, that too of Ladakh. It is a nesting habitat for number of birds such as bar-headed goose, black-necked crane, and Brahmini duck. And it is one of the highest breeding sites of black-necked crane. अब याद रखिएगा, black-necked crane, it has got cultural significance. Buddhism, this is highly revered bird. We talk about biodiversity heritage sites. These are the areas that are unique, ecologically fragile ecosystems, which are having rich biodiversity. अब क्वेश्चन कैसे आ सकता है? Question can come on the environmental legislation part. Which of the following bodies has the power to declare an area as biodiversity heritage? Is it central government? Is it state government? Is it local bodies? What is the scenario like? So you should be aware that under Biological Diversity Act 2002, state governments, they are empowered to notify biodiversity heritage sites in consultation with the local bodies. याद रखिएगा इसमें state governments in consultation with the local bodies, and the act is Biological Diversity Act 2002. में भी और डिटेल में जाएंगे, so it is section 37. But basics you should be aware of. Moving forward, Gupteshwar Forest. The Gupteshwar Forest was in news. Now this has become the fourth biodiversity heritage site of the state, in the state of Odisha. This is adjacent to Gupteshwar Shiva temple in Odisha's Koraput district and has been declared as the 4th biodiversity heritage of Odisha. और जब बायोडाइवर्सिटी हेरिटेज साइट की बात कर रहे हैं, सो विच इज द फर्स्ट बायोडाइवर्सिटी हेरिटेज साइट इन इंडिया इज नल्लूर टैमरिंड ग्रूव इन बेंगलुरु, कर्नाटका. If we talk about Gupteshwar forest, what is the fauna? So you would be finding magar crocodile, Gangar valley, rock gecko. Gecko is nothing but lizard, kind of lizard. Groove bush, frog, as well as heavy fauna such as black baza, Jordan's baza, Malabar truff, common hill myna, white-bellied woodpecker and banded bay cuckoo. But उस सब में important the magar crocodile. Next, limestone caves within this Gupteshwar forest. They also provide habitat for the 8 species of bats, and 2 of which, Galeritis and Rhino Rufus Rossi, they are categorized as near threatened. इसमें सिंपल ये याद रखना है, गुप्तेश्वर फॉरेस्ट has become 4th biodiversity heritage site. स्टेट का नाम है उड़ीसा. मगर crocodile is there. Then we have limestone caves. और limestone caves में you would be finding bats. And as we have already discussed, Nallur Tamarind Grove in Bengaluru was the first biodiversity heritage site. It was declared back in 2007. And who declares the site? It is the state government in consultation with the local bodies as per Biological Diversity Act of 2000. Moving further, discuss about dark sky reserve. Dark sky reserves. What are dark sky reserves? Tal Kaveri आपने पढ़ा होगा. Tal Kaveri in geography in Kodagu district. It is the source of Kaveri river. It has also emerged as South India's Helne. South India's Helne means Helne कहाँ पे? Ladakh region. This is used for astronomical purposes. So Helne in Ladakh is known for its pristine skies, relatively free from the light pollution, relatively free from the sky glow, and minimal light pollution is there. So it is also India's first dark sky reserve. अब डार्क स्काई रिजर्व होता क्या है ये भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. डार्क स्काई रिजर्व इज a designation which is given to a place. Now which place is designated as dark sky reserve? It is that place that has policies in place to ensure that a particular piece of land or a tract of land or region has minimal artificial light interference. आसान भाषा में जहाँ पे light pollution बहुत कम होगा, then that can be categorized as dark sky reserve. Please comment down which protected area was in news as it was categorized as dark sky reserve. Moving further, you should also be aware about bottle scale. Bottle scale क्या है? It measures the night sky's brightness, कि कितना night sky जो है वो bright है, of a location on 9 level numerical scale. जैसे noise pollution के लिए what do you have? You have decibels. आपने सुना होगा कि भाई इतना decibel noise is permitted. तो अगर हम बात करें sky brightness का, night sky brightness का, तो उसके लिए bottle scale is there, and lesser the numerical scale, it qualifies for better dark sky location. जितना छोटा नंबर होगा बॉटल स्केल पे उतना अच्छा होगा फॉर डार्क स्काई लोकेशन. I hope this is clear. And why these dark skies are so important? Why? What are the consequences of light pollution? ये अलग से क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. So light pollution, it badly impacts the ecosystem. It badly impacts the human health also, because we have circadian rhythm. biological sleep clock cycle is badly impacted. And moreover, think about the nocturnal animals. का तो पूरा life cycle, पूरा reproduction etc. is badly impacted by the same. Moving further, Cars plateau. Now, where is Cars plateau? It is also known as Valley of Flowers in Satara district, Maharashtra, and it falls in the biosphere of Western Ghats. Name is derived from Casa tree, which belongs to Rudraksha family, and it is inscribed in UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site list under Western Ghats. So you must be aware, in India, where do we have what are the important biological hotspots in India? One of them is Western Ghats region, Himalayas, Northeast, Sundaland. Moving further, Bolpur Karoli Tiger Reserve. This was there in the news. Why it was in the news? Because NTC, National Tiger Conservation Authority, it has granted approval for establishment of Tiger Reserve in Rajasthan, Karoli and Dholpur districts. These are the names of two districts in the state of Rajasthan. And this Dholpur Karoli Tiger Reserve, it is the 5th tiger reserve in the state of Rajasthan, and it has joined the ranks of Mukundra Hills. Mukundra Hills, all of these are in the state of Rajasthan. Mukundra Hills, Ranthambore, Sariska and Ramgarh Vishdhari. Pay attention over here, these are the tiger reserves of our country. You can see Sariska, Ranthambore, Ramgarh, Mukundra Hills, and now you have Dholpur Karoli Tiger Reserve also. Then Ranipur, this is again a recent addition. Rest Rajaji, Corbett, Peel, Dudhwa, these are the famous ones. Valmiki, the northeast region. We had Baksa, Manas, Pake Tiger Reserve. Right. Direct questions have been asked. Pake Tiger Reserve, where it is from. नामेरी, औरंग, काजीरंगा, नामदफा आपने पढ़ा था अभी थोड़ी देर पहले, नामदफा फ्लाइंग स्क्विरल के बारे में, that it has resurfaced after a gap of 42 years. It is nocturnal or very important. This is critically endangered. Then we have Kamlang Tiger Reserve, we have Dampha Forest, Dampha Tiger Reserve. Now which is this state? Is this the state of Manipur or Mizoram? Be aware of states also, बहुत basic है, but you should be aware of these. Then we have Melghat, Bor, Pench, Kana, Bandhavgarh, Sanjay Dubri, Panna, Satpura, Simlipal in the state of Odisha. Satkoshia Tiger Reserve बहुत important है. Satkoshia Tiger Reserve, why it was in news? Because of melanistic tigers. वहाँ पे color में variation, genes में variation has been observed. Then we have Kavel Tiger Reserve, Indravati, नागार्जुन सिरी सेलम. यहाँ से क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है ऑलरेडी 2020 में. और क्वेश्चन कैसे पूछा था? That which of the following in India has the largest area under core? So that is Nagarjun Siri Salem. So you can read about more about these. Next is Central Asian Flyway. Central Asian Flyway. सबसे पहले what do you mean by flyways? And what there are total of 9 flyways in the world. So let us see why this is in news and what is flyway all about. So United Nations Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals, short में कहा जाता है CMS, या popularly this is known as Bonn Convention. याद रखिएगा Bonn Convention, not the Bonn Challenge, क्योंकि Bonn Challenge is related to land degradation. and associated issues. Bonn Convention is CMS. This has adopted India's initiative for Central Asian Flyway and agreed for listing of 14 additional migratory species across the globe. नाम से क्लियर होना चाहिए, जो भी माइग्रेटरी स्पीशीज हैं, कंजर्वेशन रिलेटेड इनिशिएटिव्स. Central Asian Flyway, it covers large areas of Eurasia, between Arctic and Indian Oceans and associated island chains. So basically the migratory birds, they travel large distances. So flyway is a geographical region within which single or group of migratory species, they complete annual cycle: breeding, molting, staging and non-breeding. Migration is a crucial aspect in the life cycle of migratory species. They are not able to migrate, then that can cast a threat to their survival. And what do you mean by molting? आसान भाषा में molting is shedding of skin, for example. And India lies in the Central Asian Flyway, which includes 30 countries from Arctic Ocean to the Indian Ocean. और याद रखिएगा, यहाँ से अलग से क्वेश्चन बन सकता है, because recently conference of parties was held, and please comment down what was the COP number which was held in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, right? And it has logo of winged snow leopard. This was also held. Now these are the names of species which will be listed in CMS, Convention on Migratory Species, appendix, right? This is Eurasian lynx, Peruvian pelican, Pelagus cat, गुआनको, अभी थोड़ी देर पहले पढ़ा था, गुआनको कहाँ पे पढ़ा था? केस ऑफ camelids, क्योंकि यूनाइटेड नेशन हैज डिक्लेयर्ड ईयर 2024 as इंटरनेशनल ईयर ऑफ camelids. Then luau, catfish, Balkan lynx, the hills, bottlenose dolphin, harbor prospice. एक और चीज याद रखिएगा, that this convention on migratory species, it is not restricted merely to the birds only. सिर्फ birds के बारे में नहीं है, animals are also included in this. Then we have bearded vulture, black chin, guitarfish, bure, Justinian, cow nose ray and glided catfish. So these are 14 additional migratory species. This is at India's behest. These are the total 9 flyways which are in the world, naming East Atlantic Flyway, Black Sea Mediterranean Flyway, Mississippi Americas Flyway, Central Asia Flyway which we are talking about, West Asian, East African Flyway, then we have Pacific Americas Flyway, West Pacific, East Asian Australian Flyway and Atlantic Americas Flyway. The number you should be aware, it is 9. Thereafter, Greater Panna Landscape Council, it was also in news. As a part of Ken-Betwa link project, this Greater Panna Landscape Council, it has been constituted to ensure systematic and time-bound implementation of Greater Panna Landscape Management Plan. आपने पढ़ा होगा केन-बेतवा लिंकिंग के बारे में. अब केन-बेतवा को अगर लिंक करेंगे, so there would be number of environmental issues which are associated with the same. So a proper management plan has to be laid out. And this Ken-Betwa link project is a interlinking of river, in which कहाँ से कहाँ पे water को transfer किया जाएगा? From Ken to Betwa to the Panna Tiger Reserve, So you should be aware about the name of the tiger reserve through which this is flowing or joined, and it envisages transferring of water from Kane to Betwa. Goal of Greater Panna landscape. What is the goal? It is to ensure win-win situation for conservation with integration of development process based upon a balanced approach. The environment be damaged na ho, and at the same time development is also not compromised upon. We talk about integrated landscape management. It refers to long-term collaboration so as to achieve the objective required from landscapes. And what are the objectives which are achieved or required from a landscape? These are agricultural production, delivery of ecosystem services. Ecosystem services पे अलग से कुछ लिखा हुआ है. Ecosystem services के अंदर we have cultural services which are non-tangible in nature. We have provisioning services, right? And two more services are there. And cultural heritage and values and rural livelihoods are also important part of this landscape management plan. Next is Agumbe forest. Now, Agumbe forest, this is often nicknamed as Chera Punji of the South. और न्यूज में इसलिए था because there have been other districts in the south which have received more rainfall in comparison to Agumbe forest. Agumbe in Shivamoga district, it is Karnataka, has been nicknamed as Chera Punji of the South for receiving over 8,000 millimeters of rainfall during the monsoon. But यहाँ पे रेनफॉल कम हुई है और इससे ज्यादा रेनफॉल और कहीं पे हुई है. वो कहाँ पे रेनफॉल हुई है? In this Agumbe rainforest, it receives its peak rainfall of 6,000 mm during the monsoon months of June and August. But अभी 2 सालों से क्या हो रहा है? For the last 2 years now, this has actually, the rainfall has declined. और अभी Udupi district, it is receiving more rainfall in comparison to Agumbe forest. I hope this is clear. सबसे पहले state. Second, this is also known as the cobra capital. Was world's only natural habitat of king cobra you would be finding in Agumbe forest. में याद रखिएगा. First, Cherapunji of the south, state is Karnataka. Second, world's only natural habitat of king cobra, and it is often referred as cobra capital. I hope this is clear. Then we have Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary. Why this was in news? Where we have Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary. Now it will be developed as second home for cheetahs. आपने पढ़ा होगा cheetah translocation के बारे में. Cheetahs were translocated from Namibia. What is the capital of Namibia? Is it Windhoek? Comment down. So it is located in MP, the boundary along Rajasthan border. We are talking about Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary because you must have seen in news also number of cheetahs, they are dying. So this is be developed as a second home for cheetahs. It is having open landscape with sparse vegetation, rocky terrain and small patches of dense forest. Obviously open landscapes are required. इसको याद रखने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. Where would the cheetah run? अगर बहुत dense forest होगा, cheetah won't be able to freely run. Whereas open landscapes, and it is divided by Chambal River. Chambal River पे भी कैसे क्वेश्चन पूछा था? That if you have to see घड़ियाल्स in their natural habitats, so where would you find घड़ियाल्स in their natural habitat? It was Chambal. If we talk about vegetation in this particular wildlife sanctuary, then you would be finding Kher, Salai, Havda, Tendu and Palash. Fauna includes Chinkara, Nilgai, spotted deer, and if there are herbivores, then obviously carnivores there. That includes Indian leopard, striped hyena and jackal. Next is Barda Wildlife Sanctuary. Where is Barda Wildlife Sanctuary and why this is? Now recently it has been considered for introducing Asiatic lion. So it lies 15 kilometers from coast of Porbandar, Gujarat. Barda Wildlife Sanctuary, it is in Gujarat. हमेशा एक चीज याद रखिए, for biodiversity in order to flourish, for nature in order to flourish, there has to be greater biodiversity. Tribes which are found are Maldaris, या आप पढ़ते हैं in the case of Banni grasslands of Gujarat also. Bharwads, Rabaris, Gadvis, they live in this region of Saurashtra, Gujarat. And we have abundant floral diversity, Gorad, Dhav, Ryan, Amli and Dhunlo, right? अब इतने details में UPSC won't be asking, but at least once or twice you should go through these. And it is suitable for wild ungulates. What are ungulates? Ungulates means herbivores with hoofs. हिंदी में बोलें तो खुर, like sambar, cheetal, chinkara, right? Obviously this would provide a very good prey for Asiatic lions. Next is Amazon River Basin. यहाँ से question can come. Why Amazon Basin was in news? Amazon Basin was in news because of drying of lakes. And this name you should remember. Kura. This has been affected by drought in Manaus, Brazil. You can see the lake has dried up. और यहाँ से क्वेश्चन पूछा जा चुका है already. Because of human activities, which of the following water bodies has been dried up? The answer था RLC. Talking about this Amazon River Basin, indigenous people, they have urged Brazil so as to declare climate emergency as rivers they have started to dry up. So these are the implications of deforestation. Amazon Basin, it covers immense area that extends from Andes Mountains in Peru to northeastern coast of Brazil, where the river empties into the Atlantic Ocean. Last year 2023 में क्वेश्चन यूपीएससी का फोकस था कि which of the following countries are a part of Congo River Basin, and the question was with regards to cobalt. दो क्वेश्चन थे. वर्ल्ड का maximum portion of cobalt, about 3/4 of cobalt is found in which of the following countries, और उस countries का river basin countries भी आपसे पूछा था. Similarly 2024 के लिए important हो जाता है Amazon River Basin की countries को जानना, right? So these include parts of Bolivia, Brazil of course would be there, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, Peru, Suriname and Venezuela. Please remember this list. This is important for year 2024. The question which I was mentioning was asked back in 2018. So the following has shrunk, immensely dried up because of human activity. So you can see Puraquara Lake, it has been affected by droughts in Manaus, that is in Brazil. Moving further, Kamlang Tiger Reserve, I hope by now you must be aware, Kamlang Tiger Reserve is in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. And this was there in the news because 20 different butterfly species, they were identified during a butterfly walk and nature trail. It is in the Lohit district, Arunachal Pradesh, and it is named after Kamlang River, spread between Namdafa National Park and Lang River. बस एक चीज याद रखिएगा, whenever you are reading about the state of Arunachal Pradesh, so it would be having a diverse range of landscapes, which be including dense tropical forest as well as grasslands, rivers and hills. climate is subtropical. And vegetation, it can be classified into tropical, temperate and alpine. कैसे याद रखेंगे tropical है, temperate है, alpine है? Should always remember a question from your geography part can also be asked. Western or Eastern Himalayas. Eastern Himalayas. Does Himalayas, एक क्वेश्चन अलग से भी बन सकता है. Does Himalayas pass through Tropic of Cancer? Answer would be why yes. याद कीजिए basic geography. Which of the following states cut through Tropic of Cancer? So is it the state of Mizoram? Yes or no? Please comment down. Now talking about the Eastern Himalayas, they are more near to the Bay of Bengal. They are more near to the Tropic of Cancer. So that provides abundant moisture, that provides humidity, that provides for the tropical or subtropical type of climate. And as we progress, जैसे से elevation बढ़ेगा, you would be finding vegetation changing from tropical to temperate and temperate to alpine. Then lower reaches and foothills of the region, they are covered by tropical wet evergreen forest, and obviously alpine vegetation, it would be dominating the higher altitude. Fauna, very important, snow leopards, they are found over there. Clouded leopard, leopard, tiger, Himalayan palm civets, leopard cat, snow loris, and hollow gibbon. Hollow gibbon is the only ape which is found in India, and this you would find in the state of Arunachal. Next is Willingdon Island. It is state of Kerala. This was in news because Trade Union Forum, it has urged Honorable PM to take effective steps so as to revive this particular Willingdon Island. This is a man-made island and it was named after Viceroy. This Lord Willingdon, Viceroy of India. Obviously, it handles millions of tons of cargo each year. So just simple location याद रखिएगा, Willingdon Island is state of Kerala. Then Kuno National Park. Who doesn't know about Kuno National Park? Very famous for the translocation of cheetahs. The state of Madhya Pradesh and is a part of Central Indian Vindhyan Hills. Named after Kuno. What is Kuno? Kuno is a tributary of Chambal. Please remember this. Kuno is a tributary of river Chambal. We talk about the forest, it's dry deciduous, and flora, it would be mainly dominated by Khardai, Salai, Khar Kher trees along with vast grassland. The vegetation se UPSC does ask question. Last year there were 3 vegetation that were given और आपको पूछा था jackfruit, is it a evergreen tree species or not? Mahua, teak. Fauna, you would be finding spotted deer, chausinga, nilgai, blackbuck, leopards, wild dog or dhol. Then we have Nagarjun Sagar Siri Salem Tiger Reserve. Recently you should be aware that 5th cycle of ME, that is management effectiveness evaluation. So tiger estimation was there. We will be discussing that in a separate video lecture. And according to the 5th cycle of ME, Nagarjun Sri Salem Reserve, it was categorized as very good. And it is spread over 5 districts in the state of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, primarily comprising the Nallamala Hills. Now, are Nallamala Hills part of Western Ghats or Eastern Ghats? Comment down. And from north to south, south to north, ये आपको arrange करना भी आ सकता है. Doda Beta, Anai Mudi, Palani Hills. Try and integrate your studies. Then Krishna River flows through the reserve basin. So if we talk about Nagarjun Sagar Siri Salem, please remember Krishna River also. And ecotourism activities, they are also promoted. which include public support for wildlife conservation, especially by involving the local communities, और उसमें भी PVTG, that is particularly vulnerable tribal group, and very important are primarily the Chenchus. Please remember this particular tribe and the state. This provides an alternative means of livelihood. And back in 2020, which of the following tiger reserves, which one has the largest area under critical tiger habitat? That was Nagarjun Sagar Siriselam. और इसके next is Amrabad, is there in state of Telangana. Finally, should be also aware about the important biosphere reserves of our country. We have Old Desert in Himachal Pradesh, we have Nanda Devi in the state of Uttarakhand, Kutch in the state of Gujarat, Panchmadi Panna in MP, Achanak Amarkantak in Chhattisgarh, MP, Nilgiris, Karnataka, Agasthyamala in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, Gulf of Mannar, very important. Gulf of Mannar में which species of wildlife you would be finding over here? So यहाँ पे you would be finding coral reefs. Over here you would be finding sea cows or dugong. यहाँ से sea cow dugong से already UPSC question. Then we have Sheshachalam in Andhra Pradesh, Simlipal in the state of Odisha, Sundarbans, West Bengal, Nokrek in the state of Meghalaya, Debang in Arunachal, the state of Assam we have Manas, Debru, Shikhwa, and Sikkim se we have Kanchenjunga. Sikkim mein which was the animal which was sighted for the very first time in India? Was Tibetan brown bear. So these are the biosphere reserves of our country. That is it for today. Keep studying, keep practicing. Have a good time.